The J-Files.
Hello.
Hello, Mike. It's Richard at Triple J in Australia. How are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for spending some time with us. We've actually spoken a couple of times over the years, actually going way back to 1992, which is 9 years ago. I don't need to tell you that, but God, it didn't seem like that long ago that we started talking about angel dust. But anyway, that's...
Wow. Well, it seems like a lifetime ago to me.
It's because you do so much, I guess, that every year must just seem so jam-packed to you. Does it feel like that?
At times. When times are bad, it feels like that. But usually, you keep your head above water, so to speak, and keep, if you just keep kind of looking ahead, I think for me that keeps me healthy and looking in the right direction. And you spend too much time looking in the rearview mirror, I think that's when you get into trouble.
So you never do it?
I try not to. No, I feel like a fool doing it, and it's, by the way, it's not very productive.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's not very productive, but I mean, you should be proud of a lot of the work that you have done, but you just don't think that it's healthy to do it, to look back.
I figure I'll have plenty of time as soon as my ideas dry up and I lose my mojo, so to speak. There'll be plenty of time for looking back then, but right now, I think that's what keeps me making music is looking ahead and kind of correcting past mistakes and exercising past demons, and that's what keeps me doing this shit. So,
do you feel like you do learn a lot from actually, doing what you're doing? Do you feel like you kind of learn, well, that was a mistake, I'll never do it that way again? Do you come out of the process the wiser?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. For me is to keep learning and get, hopefully keep improving. And one of the ways that I like to do that is to be constantly playing with different people and forming new contexts, new musical contexts, which is, to me, something that I'm really enjoying these days is putting together new bands whenever I can. It's a great feeling to be able to put yourself kind of in an unfamiliar environment and then rise to the occasion. You only get better by playing with people that bust your balls and make you better and challenge you. So I'm constantly trying to challenge myself in
challenge
that way.
Yourself,
and put up new hurdles, and sometimes you get over them and sometimes you don't.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? A lot of musicians kind of maybe would get a bit insecure about putting themselves out there for ego's sake or whatever, but you don't mind sort of putting yourself in the deep end.
I feel comfortable in the deep end, and that's fine with me. I've come to the realization that anything that I do is not really going to fit in any category, and it's not really going to be liked by or understood or enjoyed by a real large number of people. And I'm really comfortable with that. And that, once you kind of swallow that, it makes what you do a lot easier and a lot more fun.
If you hadn't have had the success with Faith No More, though, do you think your perspective would be different?
I don't know. I know I'd be doing, similar or maybe exactly the same things. I don't know if people would be listening. But to tell you the truth, friends of mine will sit around and just go, Jesus, we'd be doing exactly the same thing, whether we had success doing this or not. It's like a bodily function. It really just kind of needs to happen, and it's a part of your everyday, and it's sometimes like a disease. You do it even when you don't want to do it. I mean, I sit down and do a little writing pretty much every day, whether I want to or not, because I feel that the more I work at it, hopefully the idea is the better you'll get.
When was the last time you had a holiday, or is there no such thing in the life of Mike Patton?
This is my fucking whole life is a goddamn holiday.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I could be out digging ditches or something, or giving blowjobs on the street corner, and I mean, I'm really, I feel pretty lucky that I've been able to get this far making this, the music that I make, and I want to exploit it while I still have it, while I still feel like I have a little bit of a spark. I want to use it until it dries up.
Mm. The thing about having sort of like a track record, including a band like Faith No More on your resume, if you like, I mean, that sort of carries a certain amount of weight for you to allow you to do the freedom of music that you've been exercising since then, and also obviously before Faith No More as well. But the funny thing with Fantômas was that you actually just didn't get an offer that you were happy with from a record company. Did that sort of throw you for a bit of a spin?
Not really. I realize this music is real personal, and it's real strange, and it doesn't compute to a lot of people, which is, like I say, fine by me. It doesn't bother me. I think it's a great thing, actually. I don't value public opinion as much as a lot of people do. I think it's a wonderful thing if people can come along for the ride, but it's not really about getting patted on the back. I don't feel like I need critical acclaim or some journalist stroking me off to feel good about myself. The older you get, the more secure you get with what you're doing, and the more you hate everything else.
What about the reassurance of peers? I mean, the people that you play with are always such great players, and they've got a certain reputation. I mean, does that feedback help the process for you and encourage you even more?
Well, to me, that's kind of what it's about. Is, like I say, putting yourself in these different positions, these different kind of dangerous, if you will, environments, and communicating with new people, playing with new people, and I mean, Jesus, I think that each guy in Fantômas could probably say the same thing. Like, none of us really expected this band to gel so well and to I don't know, work so smoothly. Because when you start a band, it's like going to chemistry class or something. You never know what's going to happen. You put a little bit of this into that test tube, and it could blow up in your hand. And this one didn't. It still feels really good. So the chemistry's working. I put this band together not to really be a band per se, but more so just to kind of play my music, more like a recital. I wanted to get the best kind of players that I could to really cover the music and do the music justice. And I didn't know, how well they would embrace it or if these were the right guys or anything. I just liked the way they play, and hey, you gotta leap. You gotta go out on a limb a little bit and jump off. If you feel like it's gonna break, you better jump. And this one's still holding pretty strong. So I really didn't know that it would feel like a band so much. But as soon as we started rehearsing for the first time, it really felt like, oh my God, this is taking on a life of its own. Everybody gets along, everybody shows up on time, it's very professional. Everybody really tackled the music with a lot of, enthusiasm, and we're really, really interested in playing it exactly the way that I wanted it. And I don't know, that really impressed me. And these guys really, like I say, I think they're, I wouldn't want to be doing this music with anyone else.
Yeah, they saw your vision. I mean, do you think that's quite rare these days in the music scene for that to happen?
It's rough, and I mean, especially with music like this, that is really pretty difficult and abstract. It's not verses and choruses and a guy singing about his, unrequited love. I mean, it's a nightmare. It's hard to listen to, it's hard to play, and everything in between. So, I was really impressed with the way that these guys chewed up this information and threw it back at me and said, yeah, what next, I mean, I think before we recorded our first record, we rehearsed about 5 days, something like that. And they were long days, granted, but I mean, literally, it was quite an appetite there, and they've chewed it up, and now they're begging for more. So back to the drawing board. I really gotta bust their chops this next time.
Well, if it was sort of like a 5-day preparation for the first album, what about the director's cut? Surely it took a lot longer than that to get these pieces just right.
Yes and no. I mean, I think we may have rehearsed, I don't know, a week or two, and then the record we did in about 3 weeks. Something like that.
Gee, that's much quicker than what I would have thought.
Hey, we're professionals. We know what we're doing. it may seem like a big mystery, but I'll tell you it isn't. It doesn't take $1 million to record a record, excuse my language, and it doesn't take, a year to record a record, and these slobs like Marilyn Manson or whoever would have you believe otherwise. But I'll just tell you this, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. If you know what you're doing, and you have your music well rehearsed, and you have your machine well oiled, you can go in and make a record for a very, very modest sum of money, and you can make it sound exactly the way you want to. And after all these years, I would hope that we've gotten a little bit better at our craft, where we would, we'd be able to go in and hey, you shit or you get off the pot, basically. And studios aren't cheap. You got to go in there prepared, and I don't know. To me, I feel like it's part of my job to record and make this music, efficiently, and not waste money or time. Because, hey, man, the clock's ticking,
Yeah, sure. There's plenty of other things to get on with, especially for someone like you who likes to keep moving. I guess experience adds up to a whole lot as well when you're playing music. But I guess there's so many examples on this director's cut album which can kind of illustrate how well you guys play together as a band. But I want to pinpoint one, and that's One Step Beyond, which is an incredible sound. Can you talk us through maybe the preparation and how you actually recorded this? Is this all one take? Because it's an amazing piece.
Let me think. Yeah, I think we did that all in one take. Yeah. It's funny because I didn't necessarily think that we would do a lot of these tunes in one take. I thought maybe we'd learn a part and then edit another part in if it was too hard to make a transition. But the more we rehearsed, the more I realized, wait a minute, we can pull this stuff off, and we're going to have to pull it off live anyway. So let's learn it as a live band first, and then we'll figure it out how to fill in the holes later. But that tune that tune's one of the hardest ones to play live on the entire record, because it's we're playing to my sampler, and what I have to do is I have to cue people in almost like a conductor. And so everyone's looking at me in that piece on when to hit and when to make these kind of stabbing accents that are happening throughout the whole piece. So that was a real pain in the ass.
What about the singing? Is it a totally exhausting experience, especially for a piece like that, for you to vocalize?
That one's pretty high. That one's right at the limit of my. That's right at my breaking point. So it's a little uncomfortable, but I eke it out. I manage.
You were talking before about, part of the course for you for making music is to keep getting better, to keep learning from experience. What about your singing? Do you feel like as a singer you just keep getting better and better through the years?
I don't know so much about that. I think I try different things, and I think as a singer one of the most important things is you got to be very willing and able to look like a fool. And, if you can do that, you're going to be okay, I think. And so I'll on a record, any given record, I'll put myself out there at least a few times on the record and try something that pull the pin out of the hand grenade and see what happens.
Is it literally just like, a thought enters your head as you're behind the microphone and you just go, yeah, what the hell, let's go for it this way?
Sometimes, but very rarely is inspiration is very overrated that way. I calculate pretty much everything I'm going to do, especially like in the studio, like I say, where time is money and all of that. You really kind of want to go in there knowing exactly what you're going to do. But there's always moments where you're like, wait a minute, let's try this or whatever. But more so, I'll calculate in advance. Like, gee, I wonder what on this part maybe we'll see if it works. But I'll get in the studio and try a 12-part harmony thing, like I did on The Omen. I didn't know I was going to do that really until I didn't know if it was going to work until I actually did it. So things like that,
One thing I was reading on the internet was that the album project, Fantômas, actually recorded the theme from the movie Flashdance, but because of objections, they had to withdraw it at the last moment. And I asked Mike Patton if that was a true story.
Don't believe everything you read.
Oh, come on. It must be true. I read it on the net. Come on.
It sure sounds good, doesn't it?
It sounds bloody good. So that's just all a lie, fabrication?
Absolutely. An in-house lie, which are the best kind.
Damn, I thought that was a good scoop. I was waiting for all the dirt from the producers and the writer of the music originally saying, no, it's blasphemous. You can't do that to our piece of music.
Irene Karas tried to sue me or something.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, well, we might as well ask this question as well, because one of your fans here, Danny, actually wanted me to pose this question to you because we're doing a special on you this week, and he knew that I was interviewing you, and he wanted me to ask you, which is news to me, and once again, it could be complete fabrication, but this in excess offer for you to fill the boots of Michael Hutchence. What can you say about this? This is Danny wants to know. What can you say?
Yeah, they asked me to sing, and I had a very hearty belly laugh at their offer.
No, I hope you didn't laugh in their face, though. Did you hang up the phone and then laugh?
Well, no. I probably should have. It was my manager. They contacted my manager, and my manager started laughing, and I think they got really offended, yeah, I think they're pretty pissed off at me.
Right, okay. Did you get wind of...
hey, look, the only reason they're pissed off is because I turned them down. I mean, I don't have anything personal against those guys. I don't know them from fucking white bread. I don't know them at all. But they're upset that I did some interview. I think I mentioned offhandedly, I was talking to an Australian journalist, and they said, any funny stories lately or something? Yeah, I got asked to join In Excess. That's pretty funny. I think it's funny. But I wasn't lying. Hey, it's true. They asked me. But I think it's interesting that they didn't want me to talk about it because I turned them down.
Yeah.
Hey, egos.
Well, also, I guess, not to have a dig at them, but they just mustn't have done their research very well to know where your head is at in terms of making music, because it's just completely illogical, really, isn't it?
They're obviously very desperate, and otherwise they never would have called me. And, I think they're fishing in the wrong pond. That's all. I got a real laugh out of it. It's one of the weirder offers I've ever gotten in my life.
How do you think you would have gone?
Oh God, get out of here! I didn't give it a moment's consideration.
Okay, all right. I thought, mate,
yeah.
Come on. When you hung up the phone, maybe a few pictures came into your head of you being on stage playing some of those songs. No,
no. It all involved showing up for rehearsal with something around my neck, but I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Yes, please.
It's a very cruel joke.
Yeah, it is a cruel joke.
All I thought of.
Okay, we better move on to another subject. Actually, let's actually talk about your acting now as well, because I believe that's sort of taking up a bit of your spare time, whatever spare time you do have when you're not making music. What can you tell me about, because I believe you're working at the moment on 2 films?
No. I got asked to do 2 films, and I said yes, and they said, yeah, okay, well, one of them will start shooting in August. Well, it's August. I'm not doing any shooting. The film industry is almost, well, it's probably even more of a comedy of errors than the music industry. What I'm beginning to realize is these people start selling and pimping a product before it's even made. So, I thought the scripts were interesting. I said yeah, and if I could fit it in the holes, squeeze it in, then I'll do it. But I haven't heard anything, and they're trying to get financing, and I don't know much about that world, but it sure seems pretty ridiculous.
Hmm. So the project isn't dead in the water; it's just been delayed.
I guess.
Is this the one?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah. Is this the one with co-stars like Deborah Harry and Dennis Hopper? Is this the film?
Yeah, that one's called Firecracker. And I actually did hear from them not so long ago when they were, they were in one of these financing crisis or something like that. But here they are. They've got this real fancy website, and it lists all these people that are going to be in the movie. But there's really, right now there's no movies. So it's pretty funny.
What about the other film?
The other film is by an Italian director. Gabriele Salvatore is his name, and yeah, I know even less about that one. The guy who wrote the script, I met with him, and he gave me the script, and I thought it was neat, and so I agreed to do it, and then I just really haven't heard anything. So.
Are you disappointed, or are you still excited about the acting proposition?
I think it'd be fun. I figure it's something that I will at least get a laugh out of, and I've never tried anything like that before, and I figured, what the hell? What's the worst that could happen, you know? I'll make a fool of myself. Gee, I've never done that before.
Do you think you'd be good at it, though? What sort of confidence level do you have about it?
I really don't. I don't know. I know that the closest that I've ever been to that world is making music videos, which I really hated. So.
Oh my God, filmmaking's just going to be one big music video, isn't it?
If it's anything like that, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, the characters that I've been cast to play were, I thought, kind of funny, interesting characters, and that's why I decided to do it. They're like gangsters and pimps and things like that. So I thought that might be kind of fun. I think I could put a little
spice into that world.
I think I could put a little spice into that. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be worried with the third offer of the film, you know, if you go down this path. You'll be worried about typecasting next. Next time I speak to you, it'll be, I just keep on getting the same roles.
I just keep getting these weird roles.
People don't see the other side of me, the warmer side.
Right. Yeah. I want to be in a Disney film.
Mike Patton there tonight on the J-Files. And when I spoke to Mike Patton this week, I had to ask him, I know he hates sort of coming up with descriptions of music, but I wanted him to try to describe the sound of Tomahawk.
I would say it's a cross between Burt Bacharach and Shaquille O'Neal.
That's so wide, I have no idea.
I think it's pretty straight ahead, tough guy rock music, is what it sounds like to me. For the most part, I think it's pretty dense and it's all over the map. But at the end of the day, it's very stiff upper lip, weightlifting kind of music.
Oh my God, it sounds like Henry Rollins.
It's not that bad. No, it's nice. I think it's the guy writes really interesting stuff, and he wrote, you know, the majority of the material. He wrote all the songs, and I wrote kind of lyrics and melodies and stuff like that. And
I think I read a quote on the net which said something along the lines of, if Faith No More fans have had a tough time with Fantômas, maybe they'll like, you know, Tomahawk a lot better.
Who cares about fucking Faith No More fans is what I gotta say. But maybe, who knows? I don't know what Faith, I have no idea. I don't even know if they know what they want to hear. I think it's best not to worry about that kind of stuff. It's very possible that a lot of people will like this, but it's possible that it could slip through the cracks, and it's possible that I'm fucking out of my mind. I really don't know, and have given up long ago guessing what people's expectations are. I think that can come back to bite you in the ass and haunt you, and I try my best not to occupy my thoughts with that kind of stuff.
Yes, no, it would be confusing as well if you had.
Oh God, you'd be tearing your hair out. I'd be bald with hair you know, I'd be a wreck, a nervous wreck, if I were really that wrapped up in that kind of stuff. And I think it's interesting to see the way people react to things, but I don't think I could ever really make a record based on what I thought people wanted from me, or what the market, what was you know, selling at that time, or anything else. It just doesn't. I'm not that I'm not that good of a businessman, I guess.
In terms of the context as well, you were talking before about you like working with so many different individuals in the musical world. Are you finding these days that you don't have to search them out so much anymore because you've got this reputation of being open to working with new people? Are you finding that a lot of people are actually coming to you?
Not so much. Lately, I've been asked to do a lot of guest spots on different records and things like that, which is fun. I'd really like doing that kind of stuff, but no, I don't really get asked to, like, hey, join my band, or hey, let's put a band together. It's usually kind of, well, Dwayne did that with me in Tomahawk. That's the most, you know, recent thing like that I've done. But before that, it had been quite a long time.
What about with Robert from Massive Attack? Is that project that you're talking about with him at the moment, is that still something on the horizon?
Yeah, it's on the very distant horizon, but it's there. I can barely see it. It's a little covered in fog right now. We're trying to figure out who the third member collaborator will be, and we've talked to a couple different people, and we'll see which one makes the grade. But we're definitely going to do something together, and Right now we're just kind of sending tapes back and forth, and it's going to be kind of like a international mail order kind of FedEx kind of band.
Okay, I was kind of visualizing maybe an internet band, you sort of swapping files across the internet, but it's going to be more by post, is it?
That would be good, but I'm just not that tech savvy. I'm sure he is, but I need to do a little. I need to cut my teeth a little bit with that stuff. So yeah, so far it's just FedEx.
Okay, all right, and just lastly, I mean, God, there's so many future projects. Peeping Tom is even sort of further away on the horizon from what I've been reading, but this
actually that's closer than the
Massive Attack Robert from Massive Attack project. All right.
Yeah. I just started working on that. Well, a couple nights ago, actually. Just I've got about 25 tunes or something like that. And I'm working with this producer, Dan the Automator. And it's just basically right now just me and him, and we're going to farm out work to lots of different crazy musicians and get them to come in and play on this fun record. It's just going to be a barrel of laughs.
Is this something new for you? I get the feeling that it might be something that you've not really experimented with much in your past.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm going to try and make a pretty cohesive, linear, my sort of take, my sort of spin on pop music, which I've never really done, at least not on my own. I think that, I kind of went there and hinted at that with a few different bands that I've been in, but I'm going to try and make a record, really on my own, using different musicians on every track, rather than putting a band together, per se. And I don't know, I don't really do too many studio projects like that, and I think it's good to maintain a balance. I mean, you can't have too many bands. It's like every band you're in is like a family, and after a while, you know how relatives can be.
Yeah. There's too many phone calls and cards to send out at Christmas time.
Jesus Christ, yeah. And then their kids, and they're, it gets a little brutal. So I thought it'd be nice to I don't know, work in a different sort of on a different sort of playing field, and this will be kind of fun, I think. And then after I get the record done, I'll put a touring band together, and go on the road like that. And it should be fun. I'm excited about it.
Mike Patton on Triple J.
A fabulous British movie.
Ah, okay. That was.
See it?
Well, no. It sounds like a 60s type of British movie.
Yeah. It's early 60s. Michael Powell was the director. It's pretty good stuff. Pretty saucy. It's great.
So just to wrap up then, this kind of will take us in a full circle back to Fantômas by talking about films. I mean,
right.
Do you find that for the inspiration that you have as a musician, that films have certainly played a key part in who you are and what sort of, artistic being you are?
Absolutely. I'm not a trained musician. I don't write music out on paper. I don't read it. I learned about music and kind of, whatever, the craft of it, through, I would say, listening to records, watching films, and, reading books, looking at pictures, things like that. Read comic books. I would put much more emphasis on that than any kind of class or any kind of lessons you could take. At least for me, the way that music computed to me and made sense to me was hearing it or finding it in other places, and films would definitely be one of those. Music, and not only that, just images. I write sometimes music. Sometimes the impetus of it is really kind of visual. So films are. I couldn't live without it.
When you say the impetus is visual, do you, before writing a track, or even just as you start writing a track, does a scene, like a movie scene or something, come into your head and you try to complete the picture that way? Sure,
absolutely. Either that or you'll write something, and then when you go into a studio and you have someone play it, you can maybe if you're talking to, you're trying to explain it to a musician who is like you, not really a schooled technician or anything, and you say, hey, look, what about this movie, and what about this scene in The Big Sleep where Bogart's doing this or that? That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, okay, I got you. It's just one more sort of, I don't know, bit of vocabulary that can help you.
And so long as the other person has a good understanding of that scene in the film or whatever, it'll work wonderfully. And it's
you know, if it doesn't, then you say, oh, remember that scene where, you know, in Titanic where DiCaprio, whatever.
Yeah, you make up a scene that should have happened in Titanic.
Remember that? Yeah. Remember that time I was fucking your mother? And
oh, come now. You'd never talk like that to another bandmate, surely.
Sure. And then you can get him to play really aggressively, see?
Yeah.
It's all about psychology.
So long as the studio door was locked between you and him. All right. Listen, terrific to talk to you once again. Can we go out with, I mean, you select a piece maybe that is a favourite. Do you have any favourites? Do you ever sort of look at an album and you go, God, that's my favourite. That's my favourite one on this album. Do you have a favourite one from the director's cut?
Of my own music?
Of the director's, of the director's cut, say. Do you look at the album and you go, God, that one was the standout for me?
Every now and then it changes. You know, you got to realize that when you spend a lot of time under the microscope with something, that you really learn to listen to it from a different perspective. And I listen to it critically. I don't hear it as music. I hear it as a bunch of X's and O's, and I hear the mistakes more than I hear the good parts. So I don't sit around and listen too much because it gets aggravating.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think there are a couple that really turned out good, like, what turned out good? Let me think. What turned out really good? Did anything turn out good? What's the last track? Charade. I think that one came out great. Yeah, that was a really colorful tune. It goes a lot of places. It's like a 3-minute vacation.
Mm. Did you have to get permission? I mean, this is not reflecting on the Flashdance question, but did you have to get, for instance, that's a Henry Mancini piece. Did you have to get sort of permission from him to record this?
I think that, technically speaking, if I were going by the book, yeah, I probably should have. But I didn't. So
he'll be flattered.
I would hope so. I mean, I would love to personally speaking, if someone did something like that to music, something that I'd written, I would be just ecstatic, flattered. More often than not, when people say, yeah, I did a cover of your song, and you hear it, it's exactly the same.
Mm.
And I mean, what is the point of that? I mean, especially with something that if you really respect something and love something, you're going to want to do, you can't make it any better. It's perfect. Why bother touching it unless you're really going to aggressively, knock it down, destroy it, and build something else out of it, make it your own. And that was one of the toughest things about making this record was like, wow, I really revere a lot of these tunes we did, and I didn't know whether or not I'd be committing some kind of travesty by tackling and by doing them at all. So that was something I had to wrestle with a little bit. Was I'm not going to make these better. I mean, I can only make them different. So I'm going to make them really different. And I think that most of them we did that pretty successfully.